writing about generosity happened when I was in the Newark airport. I had a really early morning flight and I had to stand in line at the Starbucks for them even to open. And I was so anxious to get my cup of coffee, and I got my coffee, went to the gate, and I had my knitting, my purse, my carry-on, and I spilled the coffee. First of all, it's very embarrassing right there because everybody's looking at you, and I have a bad knee, so I couldn't like squat down and pick it up, so I had to do this little dance around with napkins to get it all sopped up. And somebody in line at the Starbucks saw what had happened and bought me a cup of coffee and brought it to me. It was such a simple act of generosity, and it touched me. And I thought about all the ways we have of being generous. And you know, when you talk about generosity, people generally kind of squirm a little bit because they're afraid that you're going to have to take out your checkbook and give. But there are ways of being generous that touch people's lives in profound ways by simply a simple act. I chose the title One Simple Act because it was that one simple act of the coffee that inspired the idea. My children, I'll give you another example of something of generosity, a profound way. My two sons were in college and wanted to get their grandparents something for Christmas, but they couldn't afford anything. And at Thanksgiving, my dad was saying, you know, Debbie loves Christmas so much because I do, because I put up 5 Christmas trees. I mean, it's ridiculous. But so the boys came to me and they said, you know what, let us go over and decorate Grandma and Grandpa's house because they couldn't do it anymore. And so I helped them and I bought some of the supplies, and they went over and decorated my parents' house for Christmas. And I mean, there was not a twig or a bush or anything, didn't have lights on it. And my mom and dad loved it so much. They were so proud. They told everybody they knew about their grandsons coming and decorating their house. And then after Christmas, the boys went back over and took everything down for them. Now, there's always a side benefit of being generous. And in this story, my two sons had fought their entire lives. But in doing this for their grandparents, they bonded as brothers. In fact, they had such a good time together that they decided to go over to, it's 150 miles to Yakima, to help my mom and dad out with things that they couldn't do as they grew older. And in doing that, they enabled my parents to live in their home for about 5 years longer than they would have been otherwise. So their one simple act of generosity had such great side benefits, and it helped my parents tremendously.